I am Dr. Julie Johnson. I'm the Assistant Dean and Director of Continuing and Professional Studies at the School of Communication and Information at Rutgers University. I have with me tonight our Assistant Director, Scott Delfino, who he leads our marketing and enrollment initiatives. We also have our Academic Director for Digital Asset Management and Creative Operations, David Lipsey. And we had the graduate of one of our program graduates, Eric. And Eric is going to share a bit of his story, but I'm going to give everybody a preview of how this is going to roll out this evening. Dave is going to share a bit about our digital asset management professional program. Eric is going to share a bit about his journey and his takeaways from the program. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about logistics, shall we say, and then it is your time to ask us questions. If there's questions that you end up asking that we can't answer in the moment, we will be sure to get back to you over the next day or two. In addition, I'm going to encourage you to watch your email because we have a special gift for you. I'm very much a coupon person. I love to save money. So you're going to want to look for an email from us, which is going to give you an opportunity to use a coupon and save some money. But first, let's hear from David and a bit about the program.
Great. Thanks, Julie. And as we think about digital asset management, I think all of us who are either aware of it or involved with it in any capacity and at any level career-wise, we're aware that DAM does not live in isolation. And as we approach what we call here on this slide, the content universe, we're looking at how DAM interacts with and plays such a pivotal role in everything from traditional product information management or collections management, if you're in the museum world, to creative operations, of course, in any world, to social media, to marketing operations, to packaging operations, of course, web operations. And then one of the things and one of the ways we approach DAM here at Rutgers and in our teaching about DAM is with the awareness that we have the little blue marble over there, formerly known as Pluto, that has been on temporary suspension from the universe. And I use the algebraic X there to represent the unknown digital future and the fact that part of what we teach to working professionals in our field is the capacity to be ready for that unknown digital future. When DAM started, there was no such thing, wherever it is, as iPhone. There was no such thing as the cloud, although there were high-speed coupling devices known as modems that one could rent space on a supercomputer, which really is the cloud. And DAM managers throughout have had both the opportunity and occasionally the challenge to manage the successive waves of DAM being part of a larger universe. Selfishly, being one of the founders of the field, I did make DAM the center of the universe around which all these other things orbit. I admit to full participant bias about that. And I just like the visual of DAM anchoring so much of what goes on in content enablement and in digital enablement in our world today. When we think about how we design the Rutgers program and as we continue to involve it, which we do very, very regularly, we do want to have this kind of larger picture in mind that DAM is core to navigating whichever parts of this universe you might be or your organization might be involved with. DAM today is, how do I stop that? That was a surprise. Huh.
You overachiever, David. I'm so
That's me. That's right. Mr. Technology here. DAM is in a very different content universe than when we started with digital asset management. We had just a little example there. Okay, Scott can't see the slides. Can anybody else see the slides? Eric?
I'm having no issue seeing the slides, David. Yeah, I could see it too.
Okay. Well, I have no.
Susan, maybe
Can you
log off and come back in. It might be not sure. Okay.
All right. Thanks. We'll hang on for just a minute. Megan, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself while we're waiting for Susan to call back to come back in?
David, can you go back one slide? Did we skip a slide?
We did, and because it started talking.
Okay. Okay, yeah. We'll go on to the next slide then.
We will.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting.
Mhm. And here's Susan. Susan, can you see now?
Hey, Megan, I was just trying to see.
Yeah, I still don't see slides, but that's okay. I can hear you. I'm understanding what you're saying. I'm getting.
Okay. So, well, thanks. At any rate, so Susan, what I have up now is what I had before, which was a slide that had connected to a recording for some odd reason, is a slide just to illustrate the ever-evolving complexity of digital asset management as a field of professional practice. And the slide that I have up now lists the 6 core classes that we hope will make DAM the center of your or anyone's universe. And I'll just read them off. There's only 6 bullets here. We begin with the evolving world of DAM to set forth the precepts of this field of practice, where it came from, and its kind of tectonic levels. We continue with our second class as metadata for DAM. Third, creative operations and everyday workflow for DAM, or workflows for DAM. Fourth, data governance, and we take a fairly broad approach to what we mean by governance, because we have data governance, we have small governance issues when there's the need to add, for example, a piece of street slang into a searchable field, so that if a new tennis shoe comes out, we know what to call it in how people are searching for it, versus governance on a much more substantial scale when we're advocating for increased budget for new software and conference attendance and professional development. Next, integration and the content landscape for DAM. This is not a terribly technical class, but we do go into some detail. And in particular, we go into the functional and application context of the many integrations that DAM typically has with creative operations and other tools that DAM is found in common company with. And finally, the 6th class before graduation is called Successful Implementation for DAM, and it's how we let's talk about kind of the people pieces, the organizational pieces, working with vendors, and also that posture of being ready for what's next, and that unknown little blue marble out there called Pluto, where we do have to be ready for for the many digital changes that will come along. Just a couple of examples of that. In the merest handful of years ago, no one talked about TikTok. A couple of years ago, no one talked about Blue. But all serious DAM systems today have shipping built-in transformers that allows new social media platforms to be plugged in to them, speaking somewhat metaphorically. And that's a very common aspect of digital asset management and creating an attitude and an aptitude for embracing the many changes that go on in what digital goes to work and does every day. And speaking of digital going to work and what it does every day, it's been very fun for me for quite a while to follow the career of an accomplished professional in our field, Eric Appel, who had a bit of a New York life when I first met him, and now has a very different role. And Eric is a graduate from Rutgers. He's a leader in the DAM community, and we've asked him to share a couple of thoughts on his experience. Eric, thanks for taking some time out of your late afternoon in Phoenix today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for having me. I love, David, that our history goes back far enough for you to reference my time in New York and working at the nonprofit. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I'd love to be able to share a little bit about myself and how I found myself at Rutgers and a little bit about my career in DAM. So thanks, everybody, for having me. It's nice to meet you all. My name is Eric Appel, and I've been in the DAM space for over a decade now, having managed, designed, and implemented DAMs for nonprofits, for businesses in life sciences, and retail and consumer packaged goods. Today, I manage the DAM practice of a systems integrator that's actually headquartered in Johnson City, Tennessee, of all places. We're called Entara. So our DAM practice consists of solutions engineers who build strategy, build solutions, and DAM specialists who also support strategy. They build documentation, and they're also helping with hands-on configuration of DAM platforms. So I'm actually fortunate to work with other graduates of the Rutgers DAM program, and I think that really speaks to the quality of the program and our ability to work together and collaborate, given that we have that shared foundation rooted in our education. I started out working in DAM. I fell into DAM like a lot of my colleagues in the industry, working for a Universal Music Group. I was working on a project to digitize the holdings of the analog vault. So it was there where I kind of got familiar with concepts like metadata and really began to understand why DAM is really important to an organization. From there, my career grew. I got further into consulting work, helping to implement DAMs on behalf of organizations, administering DAM programs as a program owner of DAMs for organizations. And a lot of the work that I was doing was more in an ad hoc manner. And I got to a point in my career where I wanted to just really ground myself in education and kind of back into the experience of DAM. So at that point, that's what brought me to apply for the Rutgers Bronze certification. And one of the things that I really loved about the certification is that you can configure or complete the coursework on your own time. Because at the time I was working for a company on migrating from a on-premise solution to a cloud-based solution, similar to how David was saying, how our cloud is just going to continue chasing us, right? So in working on a migration during the daytime, I was able to apply learnings from the coursework in the evening. So there was this really incredible relationship where I would complete the coursework in the evening, collaborate with professors, collaborate with others in the cohort, speak about what I was learning about to classmates, but then also bring that to my work the following day. And that really helped me to be able to sharpen the way I speak about DAM. Julie, we've talked about this, about how I've been able to gain confidence in my ability to speak about the work that I was doing. So it's one of the things that I really love about how the Rutgers program supported my success and my work. I think it's safe to say that I wouldn't be in the position I was in today if it weren't for taking the Rutgers program.
Eric, thanks so much. It's fun, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say a year from now.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Julie?
So a little bit more about the curriculum of our DAM certificate that I think Eric started to mention, and that is when we designed this program, we designed it for working professionals. And we've really taken the best of adult learning theory in building this program with pre-recorded lectures from what I call the A-team of DAM. David and I spend so much time and care in interviewing and really finding the best instructors for each of these 6 courses. And so their lectures are pre-recorded, but the month that they are teaching with you, they're live, which means that they're in the discussion boards with you. They're actively stretching you, challenging you, bringing new ideas to the table in every discussion every day. A lot of the discussion boards, one student said to me, I missed one day and the conversation exploded without me. And I love that there's that level of engagement from the instructors and the students. And in that process, a lot of community is built among the students. In addition, with the assignments, you have a lot of instructors who are giving specific feedback to your context, to your situation. They want to know you, they want to help you grow, build your confidence. And as Eric said, learn today, think about it tonight, and go do better tomorrow is very much our teaching learning process. In addition, we are in constant state of curriculum review, so we are always trying to make every course as forward-thinking as possible. Instructors, every time they teach, they walk away with things that they want to do to improve the program. So you don't need to worry about things getting dated, even though DAM is evolving so quickly. We do very intentional work about ensuring that this is forward thinking. So how do we get you all involved with Rutgers? We are currently in our season of accepting applications for our spring cohort. You will notice I said cohort because you walk that journey with a group of people over the next 6 months. They become not only your classmates, but your colleagues, your network, your resources well after the program is over. We have a very intentional process of building community for all of you. As I said a few minutes ago, I'm all about saving money. So currently it's early enrollment. So it's that opportunity to save almost $1,000 on the certificate program by enrolling by March 20th. But there is a two-step process. First is the application process. We're going to spend some time reviewing your application, making sure that you're a good fit for the program. And then we will, once we accept you into the program, you will get a link from us with a bundle code, which will allow you to sign up for all 6 classes very easily. If you can't make early enrollment by March 20th, you can still save some money after March 20th by saving 10%. And then we have some students who prefer to pay monthly. And that's an option for people as well. There's also a few ways in which some students engage with us. If you are interested in using a Sallie Mae loan, we do Sallie Mae loans. That is a possibility. It comes to me through the approval process, and our program coordinator can help you with that. In addition, we have some employers who end up sponsoring their staff to come to Rutgers. If that's the case, there's a box to check in the application that that's your desire, or you can talk to our program coordinator. We'll need a little bit of information from you to create that invoice through DocuSign, and then your employer can send a check or through wire transfers. All of that is possible. David, next slide.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's our website, and at the bottom you'll see that red ribbon that runs along the bottom there, and the very first phrase is professional certificates. If you click on that, you will find the digital asset management program, where you can learn a lot of the details of the program. And then all the way on the right side, it says get started. And we're going to zoom in on that a little bit. David, if you could just go to the next screen. When you click on get started, there's 3 opportunities in the drop-down menu. The second opportunity is apply now, and that's where the application link is. The application process is so straightforward. We want to know your goals. All of the applications and your resumes go to our instructors because they want to know who's sitting in front of them so that they can, in the teaching world, it's called differentiated instruction. For all of you, it's the faculty wants to see you and know you so that they can pour into you. So once the application is completed, the team will take a look at it. You'll get an email most likely accepting you to the program. After that, you will get another email which will allow you to enroll. And the enrollment process is really easy. If you have any trouble enrolling, just give us a call and we will walk you through the steps to create your account in our enrollment system. But it is pretty straightforward. And if you want to connect with us, we would love that. There's 3 ways to do that. There's our website, email, or a phone call, and we are here to support you. I do have another question for Eric before we listen to questions from the group. Tell us, Eric, a little bit about the impact our instructors have had on your career through this program. Things you've learned from them, takeaways.
Yeah. I shared a really great story with Scott actually not long ago around one of the instructors for the governance course. Governance was a blind spot that I had in my toolkit. It's one of my favorite courses that I took from Rutgers. And one of the pieces of course in the coursework was around solutioning a somewhat complex workflow diagram that really stretched the cohort to think and solution together and collaborate in the message boards. And our instructor at the time hosted additional virtual hours because we were distributed across the globe. So we had the chance to meet with our instructor, and this individual just reinforced that it's okay that everyone doesn't have the answer on the first pass, that complexity takes time to break down, and that you can break down complexity by asking intentional questions. And this particular lesson, it travels with me through every project I work in, through every workflow map that I look at, and I look at a lot of them. And I just think it's a really wonderful piece of advice that I took from Rutgers, and it's served me very well in my career.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So Megan and Susan, do you have questions for us? We'd love to hear from you.
I do have a question. My background is in moving image archive studies. I have a master's degree in it, and I've specialized in film preservation, and I want to move into digital preservation. And so I was just wondering how this would complement something like that.
Yeah, I'd say it creates, Susan, a lot of the surround sound, visible and invisible, to the practice of digital archiving,
Mm-hmm.
where the principles involved in the data management and in a lot of the building blocks that go into discoverability in digital archiving are the bedrock of DAM. And you'll find a great deal of overlap and transference. DAM systems, some DAM systems extend all the way out to true archiving, and the kind of things that Iron Mountain and Digital Bedrock, based out there in LA, and Preserva could do that give rise to the authentic capacity to discover a digitally archived asset and perform in honor of Eric, perform different workflows on it. Mm-hmm. So it's very complementary to the digital archiving field. I wouldn't say, don't buy DAM to do digital archiving, if it's film, and depending on what some of the laboratory needs are. But it's we have a lot of archivists who are part of this program and who use this as the fulcrum to get that next job.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Megan has a question in the chat, which is, I wanted to learn about the process and what's the difference between this certificate and the one with AI.
So Megan, this is the foundational certification in digital asset management that goes across the building blocks of what DAM is, and provides a broad spectrum of education and professional training about digital asset management DAM and AI is a 12-week, very specialized class that is it is one of our advanced certificates, and we gate into the advanced certificates differently than we do into the core, what we call the bronze certificate, as we've been referring to it, to the core basic DAM certificate. Our screening is different on the DAM and AI certificate, and it is about DAM and AI in a fairly advanced way, a very advanced way. Eric, would you like to comment on that?
I took specifically the bronze certification, so I can speak very clearly to the bronze and those 6 coursework that you were showing earlier. So the breadth and depth of those cover such a really wonderful foundation for you to be able to continue to grow in your career. And if there's specification, like we just heard, where how can I learn to apply my day-to-day or to DAM, or where is there overlap, you would be able to find that and surface that within that coursework for sure.
One of the things that I often say to students is the DAM certificate goes deep and wide across DAM, each of the pillars of DAM, because as Eric shared, you often have a blind spot. You know this pillar and this pillar and this pillar, but oh, I didn't realize that pillar was so important to my thinking process. And the way in which the program is designed is not a training program. It is a build on skills and build your capacity, which is higher order thinking, your decision making and judgment that comes into engaging with DAM. Where the DAM and AI program is that advanced certificate, and it's a deep dive of a sliver for 12 weeks. That you go really deep for 12 weeks into a topic. And we're going to have an information session about the DAM and AI program tomorrow. If you have years in DAM with extensive experience, we look at that to figure out if the DAM and AI program is right for you. But as far as this program, we've had people who are 15 years in DAM who take this, who walk away and say, okay, I'm better now. And now I have my eye on the next chair of where I want to move to. And so many of the students find, even if they have experience, the discussion boards and the pushing of the instructors who lead these programs, it is not a 101 in DAM program. It's pretty rigorous for people, even if you're a career changer coming out of like library science. There's courses that you may really find beneficial to building your toolkit. If you're coming out of the IT world, there's also pieces to the puzzle that will be helpful. Megan, I know you're coming out of the business world, so your perspective is so important to the conversation in the table, but there's probably pillars for you as well that she'll say, I understand this from the business world, but now I'm going to pivot and learn a bit about this. But the DAM and AI program is definitely an advanced certificate. Does that help? I hope. Anyone else have questions before we go? I do want to honor everyone's time and thank you all for joining us this evening. And Eric and David and Scott, you are very much appreciated. Susan, do you have one more question? Okay.
Well,
so thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Julie and Eric and I will be in Los Angeles for the Henry Stewart Conference, arriving on either Monday the 16th or Tuesday the 17th. And we'll be there in person downtown at the Sheraton Grand. And if there's any further thing that we could answer or you happen to be around that area, we're glad to meet.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Susan.
Thanks everybody.
Megan.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.